What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, April 13th, 2024, and I have an emergency update to share with you guys. Right now, it is 15:41 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you on the situation between Iran and Israel. So, we have some new news coming in today, lots of new news, but apparently, Iran will attack Israel sometime later tonight, which would mean early Sunday morning over there in Israel. So I'm going to be on high alert tonight. And if anything happens, I will go live. And we also have scattered power outages across Israel in several Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, due to a massive cyber attack. Apparently, the Cyber Avengers hacker group has announced that they have launched a cyber attack targeting Tel Aviv's electricity transmission lines and substations. Okay, so this is definitely a sign that Iran is about to attack because they're launching these cyber attacks on Israel first, trying to take down their power grid before they launch their attack. And this is historic, guys. We are living in historic times. If Iran goes through with this attack, which I'm 99% sure that they will, it's going to change the world. Okay, it's going to change the course of history, and we're going to have an escalation in the Middle East, which could spill over into a global war, potentially a nuclear war, because all the big world powers are going to get involved. Russia and China have defense pacts with Iran. They just did naval drills together 2 months ago. The US and NATO are obviously backing Israel, so this could go sideways a number of different ways, and the potential for nuclear war is extremely high. We also have tensions in Eastern Europe, with Belarus moving troops to the border of Lithuania and Russia preparing a massive new offensive in Ukraine, which could collapse the entire Ukrainian front line, and Russia could take massive swaths of territory in the coming weeks and months. And it's very possible that one of the reasons why Iran has not launched this attack yet is because they've been consulting with their allies, Russia and China, on what to do. And if the situation escalates, what are they going to do? Okay, so I think that's one of the reasons why it's been taking so long for Iran to launch this strike, because they want to consult with Russia, they want to consult with China, and then they have to ready their air defenses and put everything into bunkers because they know that Israel and the US are going to launch a massive retaliation strike, most likely aimed at their nuclear facilities. So I think what's going to happen here is Iran is going to launch this strike, and it's going to be a massive strike. And the US and Israel are going to respond by attacking Iran's nuclear facilities and destroying them, destroying the IRGC Navy, potentially destroying all of the bases that Iran used to launch missiles towards Israel, potentially taking out Iranian air bases as well. So this is going to get very, very serious, guys. So please enjoy the peace and quiet that you have now, because it's about to get really, really crazy, and it could happen as soon as tonight. Okay, the US is saying that it's going to happen Sunday morning, local time, according to a US official to Al Jazeera. Okay, now, yesterday we had the highest priority nuclear attack option broadcasted to US nuclear forces. These are known as Sky King messages. And the last time one of these was heard was probably over 10 years ago. And if you don't know how our nuclear forces work, basically we have what are known as emergency action messages, and then we also have emergency war orders. An emergency war order is literally the order to launch from the Pentagon to our nuclear forces. Okay, if you hear one of those, then it's really serious, obviously. But nuclear attack options are broadcasted every single day, both during wartime and peacetime. And all they're doing is just adjusting their targeting information every single day. They're adjusting their targets based on what's going on in the world. But when something is going on, like with the Ukraine war, or with Prigozhin and his rebellion in Russia, or now with this situation in the Middle East, there's usually a huge uptick in the number of emergency action messages or nuclear attack options that are broadcasted to our nuclear forces. And this week, Wednesday and Thursday, there were 150 plus emergency action messages or nuclear attack options broadcasted in a 36-hour period, which is absolutely insane. Just to give you an idea of how insane that is, when Prigozhin led his rebellion, there were like 60 messages in about a 24-hour period. And this week we had 150 in a 36-hour period. So it basically blew the Prigozhin situation out of the water, okay, in terms of the number of nuclear attack options and the readiness of our nuclear forces, okay. And then we had these Sky King messages broadcast yesterday, and the Sky King message is the highest priority nuclear attack option, okay. When the operator of a nuclear armed submarine hears a Sky King message, they stop everything that they're doing, and that takes precedence over everything. Okay, that's the number one most important nuclear attack option to our nuclear forces, and it was broadcasted yesterday, guys. That is not a coincidence. It's not a training exercise, and it hasn't been heard in probably 10 years. So I want to play some audio clips of this because this is historic, guys. This means that we're at DEFCON 2 right now, okay? We are at DEFCON 2, in my opinion. Okay, this is not fact. I can't prove that, obviously. But in my opinion, we are now at DEFCON 2. If there's Sky King messages going out, that means we are at DEFCON 2. Our nuclear forces are at the highest level of alert in the last probably 30, 40 years, okay? Probably since 9/11 or even going back to the fall of the Soviet Union, all right? This is extremely serious what's going to happen over the next few hours, and I do believe it's going to happen tonight or tomorrow, okay? So let me just play this for you, and you can hear the call sign Sky King to Sky Master. Anytime you hear Sky King or Sky Master, that means you have those high priority nuclear attack options.
Skymaster, this is Sky King. Message of 10 group follows.
Okay, so this guy says, Sky Master, this is Sky King. Listen again.
Skymaster, this is Sky King. Message of Skymaster, this is Sky King. Message of 10 group follows. Skymaster, this is Sky King. Message of 10 group follows. Hotel, Kilo, Quebec. Juliet, Charlie, Oscar. Foxtrot, Oscar, Yankee. Lima, Bravo, Zulu. Papa, Uniform, Golf. Echo, Victor, Quebec. Echo, Whiskey, Mike. Uniform, Golf, Victor. Romeo, Sierra, Uniform. Bravo, Alpha, Delta. Sky King out.
Okay, you can hear him say Sky King out.
Sky King out. Alpha, Delta. Sky King out.
Okay, so this is a coded message. We don't know what this means, but this is some type of an attack option, and our nuclear forces would be able to look up in their book what this means. Okay, here we have another one that was broadcasted yesterday. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a massive 30% discount on their 1 week emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link in the description below this video, which is preparewithnyprepper.com. The normal price for their 1 week freeze-dried emergency food supply is $80. They're knocking it down to $50 for 1 week of emergency food with a 25-year shelf life, and it's all packed into a small lockable ammo can with a waterproof gasket. They also have a general store, and to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And their general store has everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always doing discounts. So check it out. Use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get over 35% off of the My Patriot Supply 1 week emergency food supply, and also to get access to their general store. And they're always doing discounts there. I'll leave the link in the description below this video.
Skymaster, Tenza 04, message of 9, group follow, stand by. Skymaster, Tenza 04, message of 9, group follow, stand by. Message follows. Alpha, November, Hotel, November, Papa, Mike, India, Oscar.
So this is a very, very serious situation, guys. And the Israeli War Cabinet is going to be convening at midnight local time in Israel tonight at their command bunker in Tel Aviv. And schools across Israel will be closed starting Sunday morning local time. And gatherings of more than 1,000 people will be forbidden near the border with Gaza. You can see this picture here that was released by the Israeli Home Front Command. So you can see here the dates and the times, 2300 hours on the 13th through 2300 hours on the 15th. So anytime from tonight through Tuesday is when Israel expects this attack. And U.S. intelligence has spotted a massive buildup and movement of Iranian long-range missiles, including one-way suicide drones throughout the country, according to CNN. Procedures are being put into place to secure the Israeli coast and the Suez Canal by the U.S. military. Okay, so we're going to be securing the Suez Canal, and the French Navy aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle and her escorts are now heading to the eastern Mediterranean and will be operating under NATO command for the first time ever, ahead of a possible major military escalation with Iran in the Middle East. Okay, so the French are moving one of their aircraft carrier strike groups into the eastern Mediterranean, and it will go under NATO command. So we have a U.S. carrier strike group close to Israel now. It was moved to the northern Red Sea, close to Israel, and it's going to help intercept any missiles or drones that are fired towards Israel. And we also have this French Navy aircraft carrier going to the Eastern Med to provide also missile interception capabilities, and also to launch sorties in case they have to bomb the crap out of Iran. And the USS Roosevelt, which is a U.S. destroyer, just passed through the Straits of Gibraltar and has entered the Mediterranean. And U.S. President Joe Biden interrupted his day off today and has returned urgently to the White House to consult with his security team due to the events in the Middle East. And the Israeli Prime Minister and his wife have been transferred to an unknown location. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin spoke with his Israeli counterpart today, again, to discuss the urgent regional threats and reiterated unwavering U.S. support for Israel's defense, the Pentagon said. And U.S. CENTCOM Commander Kurilla has left Israel and is now on his way to Jordan. And earlier in Israel, there was an emergency meeting with the Israeli military top generals. Here we have a picture of the defense minister, Yoav Gallant, meeting with the chief of staff, Herzi Halevi, and other Israeli army commanders regarding the situation with Iran. And the Israeli defense minister, Yoav Gallant, released this taped message to the Israeli people. I want to read to you what he said. He said, "We are closely monitoring a planned attack by Iran and its proxies against the state of Israel. In recent days, we have strengthened our defensive and offensive array, and we are determined to take any measures required to defend the citizens of the state of Israel. We have new capabilities on land, in the air, at sea, and in our intelligence directorate within the state of Israel, and together with our partners led by the United States. Iran is a terrorist state. The world is seeing this now more than ever. We are determined to defend our citizens against this terrorism, and we will know how to respond to it. I ask the citizens of Israel to follow the instructions published by the IDF and the Home Front Command." Wow, guys, very, very serious message from the Israeli defense minister. And the Israeli military says that all forces are now on full alert and that dozens of Israeli Air Force planes are airborne as part of readiness for the Iranian strike. This was reported by Reuters. And the Iranian defense minister said today, any country that opens its airspace or territory to Israel to attack Iran will receive a strong response from Iran. Okay, so we know that Turkey refused usage of its territory or airspace to strike Iran. Same thing with Qatar and Kuwait. And a U.S. official told Al Jazeera that the United States will defend Israel and seek to counter Iran's possible attack. Our additional military capabilities are now in place and ready to confront any attack from Iran and its agents. Okay, so guys, I'm telling you, this is going to really escalate. So enjoy the peace and quiet you have now before things kick off. Top off all your preps. Make sure you have your bug out bag packed and ready to go. Make sure your firearms are zeroed. Make sure you have a nuclear war survival plan. Check out my nuclear war survival videos. I'll leave links in the top right corner. And the Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz postponed his diplomatic visit to Hungary and Austria tomorrow due to the security situation. The visit, which included several political meetings with the president of Hungary, the chancellor of Austria, and the foreign ministers of Hungary and Austria, accompanied by the families of the hostages in Gaza, have been postponed until further notice. Okay, so that is a huge sign that something is about to go down. Israeli media sources are reporting that all Israeli politicians were ordered to stay in Israel and cancel all their trips abroad. The Tehran International Airport in Iran has closed until further notice, except for special operations, military, or emergency services planes. Okay, so this is the capital of Iran. Their international airport has completely closed except for military or emergency planes. Jordan is closing its airspace to all arriving, departing, and transiting aircraft from 2300 hours tonight local time in Jordan. So that should have already went into effect. And Air France has stopped all its flights to Iran. Finnair is rerouting its long-haul flights to Asia in order to avoid Iranian airspace. Indian Airlines and Air Vistara have started avoiding flying over the Iranian airspace due to the looming threat of Iran attacking Israel, according to the Times of India. We have major GPS jamming going on, and it's affecting planes in Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Syria, and Lebanon. Jordan is currently facing significant disruption to GPS signals across the entire country. Planes in Jordan's airspace are said to be using additional methods for directions and landing. Okay, and they've already shut down their airspace anyway, so this was earlier. Okay, but massive GPS jamming going on, affecting all the Middle Eastern countries: Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Syria, Lebanon. And this is Israel's jamming system. They're trying to jam GPS because when Iran launches their cruise missiles use GPS for guidance. So they want to try to throw off the guidance of the cruise missiles and the drones. However, if Iran decides to use their ballistic missiles, which I think is very possible, then the GPS jamming will be ineffective against the ballistic missiles, because ballistic missiles do not use GPS. They use astro-inertial guidance. They're immune to GPS jamming and EMPs, okay, any kind of electromagnetic interference. So I think Iran is going to use ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones. And the jamming will work on the cruise missiles and the drones, but not the ballistic missiles. They're going to have to shoot those down with their Arrow system. And then the U.S. also has some Aegis warships in the Red Sea. Now, the Aegis warships were designed to shoot down ballistic missiles, okay? And the U.S. said yesterday that they will shoot down ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, anything launched at Israel, they will shoot down, okay? So the Aegis warships have these missile interceptors on them, and they can fire them towards the ballistic missiles and shoot them down, and they're very effective. They're so effective that they made a land-based version of them and put them in Poland and Romania to intercept Russian ballistic missiles fired into Europe. Okay, so this is going to get crazy, guys. Buckle up. And the U.S. has observed Iran moving military assets around internally within the country, including drones and cruise missiles. Two people familiar with U.S. intelligence told CNN, and CNN is reporting, citing a person familiar with U.S. intelligence, that the Iranians want their retaliatory strike on Israel to be significant. Sources in western Iran report significant IRGC activity, with trucks moving dozens of rockets. And the U.S. has placed their air defense batteries in Jordan along the Iraq border on high alert, and they've possibly moved Patriot missile systems there. And the Dutch embassy in Tehran will be closing starting Sunday local time as a precaution due to rising tensions between Israel and Iran. And Finland's foreign ministry on Saturday warned Finnish citizens against traveling to Iran, Israel, the Palestinian territory, Lebanon, Iraq, and Jordan due to the heightened security situation in the Middle East. And Iranian forces have seized the Portuguese ship MSC Ares in the Strait of Hormuz earlier today. Apparently, there were crew members on board. The ship was owned by a billionaire Israeli citizen. Israel is threatening Iran after they've seized the ship. And the Iranian IRGC electronic warfare system Avto Baza M has recently been deployed to the Tehran area. And what you're looking at here is a picture of this electronic warfare air defense system. It's basically like a jammer, I'm guessing, to affect fighter jets and missiles. So it's coming, guys. We have this security alert that was put out by the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon on their main page here. When you pull up their page, U.S. Embassy in Lebanon, this is what shows up. Security alert in big red letters. Maybe they've been watching my videos. And it says here, due to high tensions in the region, the security environment remains complex and can change quickly. We remind U.S. citizens of the continued need for caution and encourage them to monitor the news for breaking developments. We recommend that U.S. citizens in Lebanon monitor travel.state.gov for alerts and the news closely for breaking developments that could affect internal security. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. It's very possible that Israel could bombard Beirut. Okay, over the last few weeks, Hezbollah has been doing exercises on evacuating their leadership from Beirut, and they've practiced moving their heavy brigades to the outskirts of Beirut to prevent Israel from taking over Beirut. The other day, Israeli fighter jets were flying over Beirut. Okay, so that could be one way that Israel retaliates as they go into Lebanon, destroy Hezbollah, and topple the Hezbollah government there. And here we have some video footage from this ship that was seized by the Iranian military. You can see this Russian helicopter here and the Iranian forces fast roping down from that Russian helicopter onto the ship. Okay, so this is very serious. They seized an Israeli owned ship, and apparently there were some crew members on board. Obviously, if they're filming this, somebody had to be filming this. Okay, so very serious situation. And I want to read to you the list of countries that have issued travel warnings for Israel and Iran so far. We have the US, Germany, France, the UK, India, Russia, Austria, Canada, and Norway. And the US, the UK, and France have already evacuated their top diplomats from Israel. And I want to read to you what Marco Rubio posted yesterday and the day before. He posted some very chilling information on Twitter. He wrote here yesterday morning, barring some last minute development, Iran is going to attack Israel. The response and risk of escalation will depend on what and how they attack. Okay, so I mean, it's as clear as day. If Iran and their regional proxies launch a combined attack on Israel, rapid escalation will be very difficult to prevent, and we will face a new armed conflict that will be nearly impossible to contain. And he also wrote, Iran wants to launch a large-scale attack from their own territory against Israel. Israel will respond instantly with an even more severe counterattack inside of Iran. What happens next is the most dangerous Middle East moment since 1973, and he's talking about the Yom Kippur War, when Egypt and a bunch of Muslim countries around Israel, including Jordan, were attacking Israel from all sides at the same time, and Israel put their nuclear forces on high alert. They had the warheads loaded and ready to launch, and luckily they didn't. But it was at the point where Israel was going to use their Samson option, and that could happen now. If Iran launches a massive attack and Hezbollah joins in and Egypt joins in and all these proxies join in and they all start attacking Israel and maybe Turkey joins in, okay, Israel's not going to sit around and do nothing. Okay, they have dozens and dozens of nuclear warheads. The exact number is obviously secret, but we know they have at least 24 Jericho missile launchers in central Israel, and each one of those Jericho missiles can have a singular large warhead of maybe 1 megaton or half megaton, or 3 or 4 smaller warheads, maybe 200 kiloton. Okay, so you do the math, you're talking about hundreds of warheads. Then they also have their nuclear strike fighter jets. They have F-15s and F-35s for dropping nuclear gravity bombs or potentially nuclear-tipped cruise missiles. And what's interesting is 2 days ago, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, personally visited one of the 2 bases where Israel has their nuclear strike fighters. Okay, he went to the Tel Naf Air Base and he gave a speech from that base saying, if anyone harms us, we will harm them. Obviously, he was sending a signal to Iran, Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, all these countries. He was sending a signal saying, listen, guys, I'm at our nuclear strike base, and I'm telling you, if you harm us, we're going to harm you back. We're going to nuke you if we have to. That's what he was basically saying by speaking from that base. That would be like Biden going to North Dakota and standing in front of a missile silo and telling Putin, listen, Putin, if you mess with us, we're going to mess with you. with a freaking nuclear silo behind him, a nuclear missile silo behind him, okay? So this is very serious, guys, okay? Israel could use nuclear weapons if they're pushed into a corner, and that's my biggest fear, is that if the U.S. doesn't do enough to support Israel, Israel will be forced to use their nuclear weapons because they're going to be backed into a corner, okay? And we have an unusual situation developing in southwestern Pennsylvania around Pittsburgh. Apparently, there were 26 barges that broke loose last night and are now heading down the Ohio River. And out of an abundance of caution, law enforcement has shut down multiple bridges along the Ohio River in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, including the McKees Rocks Bridge. And also, some of these barges have jammed up against the Emsworth Dam, causing extensive damage. Okay. And this is coming after that strange bridge incident in Maryland, in Baltimore, where this massive container ship crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge and the entire bridge collapsed. So I don't know if this is some kind of an inside job. I don't know if this is sleeper cells operating in our country. It seems like it, because the ship that crashed into the bridge in Baltimore had no CCTV on it. It had no ship log. Okay, ships are required to keep a log, just like planes have a black box, just like truck drivers have to keep a log. Ships are supposed to keep a log. There was no log. There was no security cameras. I mean, just really unusual. Now we have 26 barges that broke free in the Ohio River near Pittsburgh. Okay. Nothing is a coincidence, guys. Okay. Sometimes you have accidents like this, but remember a few months ago, all these trains that were being derailed, and then we had all these chicken factories that were catching on fire. Now we have ships and barges crashing into bridges. Okay, this is obviously the work of sleeper cells in our country, Chinese, Russian, Iranian. Okay, this is very serious, guys. And we have Ukraine's General Oleksandr Syrsky. He's the top general in Ukraine, saying that the situation on Ukraine's eastern front has significantly deteriorated in recent days. Okay, this is confirming what I've been saying for weeks now. This is confirming what many experts in Eastern Europe have been saying, that the Ukrainian front lines are on the verge of collapse. Here in the Western world, the mainstream media and Western generals, Western experts are saying, oh yeah, Ukraine is going to win. Just give them another 100 tanks. And that's just not the case, guys. Okay, Ukraine needs thousands of tanks to be able to confront Russia. And we have not been giving Ukraine what they need to win. And as a result, they're going to lose more territory, unfortunately. Russian forces may be preparing for a large-scale offensive in late spring or summer, aiming to capture more land in Ukraine's partially occupied Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia oblasts, the Financial Times reported today, citing unnamed Ukrainian and Western officials. Germany is going to be sending another Patriot missile battery to Ukraine, and this comes just 2 days after the Polish president said he was going to be giving Ukraine some old Soviet air defense missiles and air defense equipment that they have in Poland. And there was a Ukrainian missile strike on the Luhansk Oblast today. The Ukrainians hit some kind of a factory for building machinery and also some type of a military building. Here we have footage of that strike. You can see all this smoke here. Okay, look at that, guys. This was a serious strike. So Ukraine is continuing to launch these precision strikes at Russia in Crimea, and they're also using these long-range drones. So the situation in Ukraine is going to escalate this spring and summer, and it's possible it could all be coordinated with Iran. So Iran is going to cause a problem in the Middle East, which is going to force NATO to deal with Iran. Maybe they're going to have to do that denuclearization strike and take out all of Iran's nuclear facilities. And while the U.S. and NATO are focused on that, Russia is going to attack Ukraine again, and maybe Belarus is going to attack Lithuania at the same time while we're dealing with Iran. So get prepared, guys. This is going to be an absolutely crazy year. We have some very interesting activity in the Baltic Sea again. Here we have a U.S. Navy Sikorsky Seahawk flying just miles offshore from Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is a Russian province next to Poland. And here's Baltisk, which is where Russia has their Baltic Sea fleet. And we have this U.S. Navy attack helicopter flying just a few miles from Baltisk. There was also an Apache helicopter flying in this area earlier. You can see it was flying here off the coast of Poland near Kaliningrad. So something's brewing over here, guys. We got to keep an eye on Lithuania and Kaliningrad, because I think Lithuania is going to get attacked by Belarus and Russia in the coming weeks. When all this is happening in the Middle East, that's going to be the window of opportunity for Belarus. When we get bogged down dealing with Iran, then Belarus is going to move their forces into Lithuania and try to capture the capital of Lithuania, Vilnius, which is just 20 miles from Belarus. They can be in Vilnius in 30 minutes, guys. Okay? But that's the latest breaking news that I have. It looks like it's going to happen sometime this evening here in the U.S. or tomorrow morning in Israel. So I'm going to be on high alert this evening, and I will go live if something happens. But until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Guys, the world is getting crazier by the day. We're on the verge of World War III. The U.S. is drowning in trillions of dollars in debt. Inflation is at an all-time high, and there's no end in sight. So you need to prepare your finances for the future with precious metals. Precious metals are a great way to protect your hard-earned savings and retirement against inflation and the uncertainty of the stock market. Also, precious metals are good to have for the purposes of preparedness, to be able to barter with people for essential supplies if the grid goes down. Every prepper should have at least a small amount of silver coins. The company I trust for my precious metals is Midas Gold Group. Text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information on precious metals. Midas Gold Group is 100% veteran owned and supports veterans through the Wounded Warrior Project. Midas Gold Group will work with you to convert part of your retirement savings into gold or to set up a gold IRA. And unlike many precious metals dealers, Midas Gold Group offers precious metals in small denominations, which is great for preparedness, so you have something tangible to use for bartering when the grid goes down. Precious metals have continuously risen in price over the past 100 years and are considered a safe investment. So text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information and to get started today.